Whoa. How's it going, everybody? This is your Astrology Horoscope for Monday, September 2nd, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moon Base. Hope you guys are doing great. It's good to be here with all of you on this Virgo new moon, and I wasn't able to do a weekend horoscope, so I want to start with Uranus going retrograde, with Pluto retrograde, ingressing back into Capricorn for the final time. So this is the last moment. This is where we can look back since 2008 and see how our ideals about the world, about the structure that we live in, what we thought we knew about this system, this Capricorn system that we've lived in, and really that was created and developed 245 years ago, 240 to 50 years ago. So it's like, we could see it in the world playing out. We could see how alliances and powers have reformed and reshaped and deconstructed and rebuilt and reformed. And it's just, and of course, Uranus throwing in the curveball of, making sudden shifts in alliances and powers, in the same and very similar fashion that we did see in the Revolutionary War and similar to what we saw in World War II, which comparatively to World War I is, powers that were in World War I became, a whole different faction in World War II. So it's like with Pluto going retrograde, Uranus going retrograde at 27 degrees, Neptune at 27 degrees of retrograde. It's like some of the three most important timelines and eras that we, as a collective have gone through over the past couple hundred years that has shaped the whole world. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, which shaped America, and of course, 2 world wars. So it's like, this is all coming to a head with this Pluto and Capricorn. And it's very obvious. We can see it now, and it's, it's been underneath the surface for many, many years, and definitely over the past 5 years, since 2020, and that Saturn-Pluto conjunction, and with Jupiter on the south node, there's been a great exposure of this Capricorn system, on both sides of it. And now both sides have been revealed because, when we're talking astrology, we're looking at the polarity, the positive and the negative, the dark and the light, right? There's a positive light side to Capricorn, which is, building a healthy, solid foundation with purpose, divinity, and to create something real, to leave a legacy and to fulfill a destiny, right? And the dark side of that is for power and gain and for control. And of course, with Pluto and Capricorn, it's like using fear to control, okay? And we've seen how that has played out. And we've also seen the backlash of it, especially this year since that Mars-Uranus conjunction. It was just, after that moment, it was just ultra fast-paced. So this new moon, with Pluto coming back into Capricorn and Uranus going retrograde and Neptune at the last degree of Gemini, getting ready to be at the last degree of Gemini, squaring Neptune. This is a moment of finality over these next 2 months. These next 2 months are going to be a lot of conclusions and a lot of things that come to a head. This Pluto retrograde is smack dab in the middle of these final Aries Libra eclipses. Okay, Mars is coming into Cancer, which will eventually oppose Pluto in Capricorn for the first time. So Mars is going to oppose Pluto in Cancer. And then Mars is going to go retrograde. And then come back into Leo, or go into Leo, and then retrograde and come back into Cancer. And then as Mars goes direct going into 2025, Mars is going to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. This is an interesting thing that's going to play out here. When it comes to Mars and Pluto, and Mars and Pluto have a relationship. They are related. Mars is the lower octave of Pluto. Okay, the malefics here, right? So, and I think as well with this new moon. This is like bringing in such new energy here, with all of these massive sudden changes in the sky, which are historical. It's already been a historical year into 2024. The next 2 months and the next 6 months are going to be some of the most important moments of history that are going to alter the course of the direction that we're heading. And Pluto in Capricorn is like, we are going to the top. And once you get to the top, it's the realization that this is as far as we can go. So what do we do next? Well, we need to connect. We need to connect with others, in humanity. We need to rid away the connections that are not connecting at all, that are just dead connections, or connections that once were, which is what Pluto in Capricorn is trying to transform. So the Pluto coming back into Capricorn, and this is the chart from yesterday. And of course, you can see here, Pluto's still 0 degrees. Okay. It's like Uranus goes retrograde in the morning, Sunday morning, and then Pluto comes into Capricorn later in the afternoon. Here we go, 29:59. It's like it was yesterday. It was January 20th. It was like yesterday. It's like, oh my God, Pluto's coming back into Aquarius, and the new moon. Yeah, that was really wild. So, and of course, these past so many months with Pluto being in Aquarius, it's like we've seen Aquarian things really play out as well. We saw, groups come together. We saw, especially in Europe, we saw the whole trucker thing, and, people really coming together to take a stance of what they believe in, and to really create some sort of revolution. And I think Neptune is kind of secretly been in support of that as well. But also, there's two sides to Neptune. There's many sides to Neptune, right? But it's really wild with Neptune and Pluto still in a sextile at 29 degrees. These fated moments, these fated degrees. The 29 0 degrees marks is where fated things occur, right? These are fated times with these eclipses. With Capricorn, it's all about fate. It's all about destiny and purpose and meaning and God and connecting to that higher source, And Pisces and Neptune is the actual experience of experiencing the divinity, right? It's becoming the divinity. So there is this support. It's like if you've been laying your foundation and you've been sticking to your purpose and your destiny that within you, you're going to see results show up in really magical ways with Neptune and Capricorn being at 29 degrees supporting each other, and to help us really bring this manifestation, of our dreams, of our subconscious, of the vision that we have in our mind. And of course, as well with Saturn, with Pluto coming back into Capricorn, we have to look at Saturn. So where is Saturn right now? Saturn is retrograde in Pisces. So spiritually, there's a lot of tests and a lot of lessons that we're being asked to bring to the surface now and to bring into the physical reality, to actually understand and work through that karma and work through that, to work through those spiritual lessons. And I think as well, Mars making this square to Neptune, like there can definitely be some weird shit, and there can definitely be some intense emotions and intense conflicts that can really go off the handle as Mars begins to square Neptune, and people mentally, Mars and Gemini ruling the mind, and, Mercury's still trying to get traction here. So we have to look at Mercury here as well. It's like Mercury's only moved 1 degree and Mars getting ready to square Neptune. It's like there's a lot of conflict when it comes to beliefs and opinions and information and what is fact and what is true. And, this can be a moment with Mars and Gemini where there's like some kind of, gotcha moment, like, you didn't even see it, and it could be pretty intense, to awaken to that truth. And I think Mars making this square to Neptune on, with this new moon, with Uranus and Pluto making the retrogrades and Pluto coming back into Capricorn. I just think like this is the moment where we can finally start to break through the veil confidently. There have been people who have been saying these things for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and being called crazy for their beliefs and their, opinions and what they have to say and the information they want to have to share with people. And now it's like the tables have completely fucking turned. As Pluto is at the last degree of Capricorn for the last time ever. That structure, that was trying to hold that together will no longer be as we're going through this. Like this, we've never seen this. We've been saying this for so long, like, oh, Pluto and Capricorn is going to restructure the institutions and break down the institutions. And yes, we've seen that. Now we're going to actually witness the actual collapse, of that. And if you look at everything that's going on, and especially in America, we're talking Capricorn. Okay, this is Revolutionary War energy coming through. We're seeing those archetypes play out in the figures who are playing this game, because it is Capricorn. And I think with Capricorn, when you get to the top of the mountain, what you realize is it is a fucking game, and you got to be willing to you got to be willing to play the game, and you got to know the rules, and you got to learn the rules, and you got to play fairly, and you got to play consistently, and Capricorn doesn't play fair all the time. Actually Capricorn, Saturn is not really fair. It is the way it is, whether you like it or not, and it is hierarchical, and wherever you are on the ladder is where you are, Can you earn your way to the top? Fuck yeah. And that's what Capricorn reminds us, But with this Pluto and Capricorn, we've seen all the gatekeepers come out, right? We've seen people, it's like, oh, you can't go here. If you want to go here, you gotta do this first. This elitist kind of mindset, right? We've seen so many things transition into higher levels of power that were independent and were taken over by, very Pluto Capricorn institutions, and have totally filtered out the middleman or the middle class or whatever you want to call it. It's like now, just like last time at this moment where Pluto was 245 years ago, this is where the tables start to turn, and we're going to see that as we get into the rest of the year. Whatever that means, literally, we can't say for sure. And of course, Uranus coming retrograde, all we can really say is that, you can expect the unexpected with Uranus. It's Uranus and Taurus, so it's going to shock you out of your comfort zones. And if you're totally fine where you're at and you're happy and you're comfortable, that's great. But there are moments over these next coming months that are going to shock us out of our comfort zones to really push us further on towards our destiny, especially towards the simple things. I think we can get lost in the complexity of all this intensity and craziness that's going on. And it's like Taurus just wants to keep things simple, and Uranus is very complex. So it's like sometimes you got to be willing to step into those uncomfortable territories. You got to do things you don't want to do, especially with Saturn and Capricorn. It's like you got to do what you don't want to do if you want to do what you want to do. And Uranus is shocking us with this retrograde, bringing in new heat as Mercury starts to move towards Uranus, tightening the square for the third and final time. There's going to be some shocks. There's going to be some information that's going to come out. There's going to be, we're going to see massive shifts in the financial markets. Okay, we're going to see massive shifts in the institutions and in the powers that govern these corporations. And we're going to see corporations fall. We're going to see things that once stood and what was once at the tippy top of the mountain come straight down. And we're going to see new things rise to the top, and new people with new ideas and new innovations rise to the top. This is a whole new era we're moving into. And this is going to, just like it was in 1776, 1778, 1780, the American, the French Revolution, that shaped the world to be what it is, at least in the West. That's going to play out again in the same manner, but in the way that the world is now. As we evolved, it's like when we're looking at astrology, it's not a graph of like a straight line. It's a constant expanding spiral. And if you look at the transits throughout the history, it is these dynamics, these spiral dynamics, that, things repeat themselves in the way that it reflects its evolution. So it's like these same scenarios and the same things are playing out, but only in the ways that it's reflected upon our evolution. So there are limitations. We have to accept those limitations. But with Pluto in Aquarius, it's like relearning what the limitations are, relearning what the boundaries are. Uranus in Aquarius wants to break the boundaries, wants to go beyond the boundaries and discover new things and experiment. What happens if I push this button? I don't know. Let's find out, right? It's like Aquarius wants to know and wants to understand. Capricorn just knows all, and it's the boss, right? And Capricorn's like, well, there's so much more out there. Or Aquarius is like, there's so much more beyond what you can see here, So I think too, if you're thinking beyond, if you're innovating ideas and trying to bring new things to the table and connect with people with those ideas, it's going to be very helpful and it's going to be very rewarding and pay off in exciting ways. And this new moon too in Virgo, with all of this massive shift, I think it's just so incredible. Like as all of these outer planets are making huge transitions here, Uranus and Pluto, and of course Neptune and Saturn is in the mix here. This new moon, of course, here on Monday, this is where we are accepting this new energy that's coming through. And it's like, okay, we're on a new vibe, we're on a new wavelength. And this is Virgo. This is mercurial. There's new things to look at. There's new perspectives that are coming through. There's new ways of thinking about things. Okay, there's new ways of providing for others and helping and serving other people. Virgo is all about service. Okay, and I think with this moon and the sun at their opposition here to Saturn, it's not exact, but this moon later will come in opposition with Saturn after it makes its pass of the sun. It will come into come into an opposition with Saturn. So right after this new moon, it's like this new energy comes through. It's honestly, it's more like new old energy, right? Because this Pluto in Capricorn, for the last and final time, it's not going too far. It's not even going to make it, to 28 degrees in this retrograde. It's only going to be at 29, go direct and go right back into Aquarius for good. This is the final power grab, and this new moon to kick this off is saying, hey, it's like we got to be on the lookout, right? We got to be prepared. We got to have things in order. We need things to be neat and tidy. Okay, we need all the right things and all the right people and all the right tools to do the job and to do what we need to do. And we got to do what must be done with this new moon to get to that higher place. And this is bringing in very new practical ideas. Mercury's direct now. Thank God that this new moon is happening while Mercury's direct, and it's moved 2 degrees, so Mercury's getting some traction. It won't come out of shadow till it hits, I think it would retrograde at 4 degrees of Virgo. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was 4 degrees. So it won't be long until Mercury actually gets out of shadow. So by next week, Mercury's going to start to move out of shadow, and this new moon with this new energy coming through is just keeping it real. This is a big reality check. Virgo is all about the physical reality. Saturn is the physical reality, and the boundaries and the limitations of those of this physical reality. So I think it's really important to keep our health in check. I think this month, in Virgo season, especially in September, with this new moon and going into that full moon in Pisces, we're going to have it 25 degrees on September 17th. I'm pretty sure. you know, we may see certain things pop up that can affect people's health. People's health are going to be affected by these new moons and full moons in Virgo. So we want to be extra on top of that. We don't need any sort of viruses coming out again and being used to do what, this is the energy that we're coming into. We want to keep it real and keep it healthy with this Virgo new moon and that Pisces full moon. And it's hard to fully be present at this moment. Like, I feel like, of course, with Mars will come to 29 right before today ends, right after this new moon. So here's Mars, right after this new moon in Virgo, making its exact square. I guess it's really, it's right at this new moon. 28:58. Yeah, here we go. It's just right with this new moon, Mars square Neptune. So there's something underneath the surface, and there's some information underneath the surface that can really blow off the lid of some secret hidden shit or some deception. With Mars square Neptune, things can be volatile in ways that are confusing, or, this is like someone giving you a roofie, right? This is like some fucking Bill Cosby shit. You see, you want to be extra careful. If you're driving today, if you're in traffic, you got to be extra cautious, extra careful with this Mars square Neptune. You don't want to be driving like a fucking idiot, because there will be people out driving like idiots, and believing that they're right, Mars. It's like, fucking road rage. Not even knowing what they're doing. Neptune, it's like we don't even realize what we're doing, and it's like with words can be very, very intense here. And the intensity of this transitional moment of this energy too, is just, there's so much happening. I don't think we're well adjusted to it yet. We're very new. So to come into this new moon with this Mars square Neptune, it's like realizing we have a lot to adjust to. Okay, and there's a lot of things from the past as well that we have to deal with. A lot of karmic things from the past with this new moon that are coming up that we have to deal with, and especially with relationships. Okay, Venus is just moments away from its South Node conjunction, which we'll have tomorrow, and Juno is here, and we just saw that happen. Juno just crossed the South Node in Eros as well, and here's Black Moon Lilith with Venus and Libra on the South Node. It's like, people from the past, situations that didn't work out, relationships that didn't work out, that like, I feel like people hold on to relationships for years at times. So, even when it's so long gone and far gone, it's like, this is a moment. If you're one of these people who really just hold on to dear life, even when things have been over forever, this is a great release point here with this Venus getting ready to cross the South Node on this new moon, with Uranus going retrograde and Pluto, for the last time coming back here. It's like, this is an opportunity. I think this is an opportunity. Of course, this is fucking wild. But this is an opportunity to really set new goals, set new boundaries, because the moon will oppose Saturn right after this new moon happens exactly, in Mars squaring Neptune. So it is about boundaries. It's like Mars is like, whoa. You just crossed my boundaries, and I need you to back the fuck up, or, keep it real, or excuse me. But it's like, being realistic at this moment, and we just went through a shitload of mutable squares through August with that Mercury retrograde. This is like one of these moments where Jupiter has to deal with Neptune as well eventually, which is going to be fucking huge. We're talking, when Jupiter squares Neptune, we're talking massive exposure of deception being exposed, and information. It's Gemini We're talking about words, text, being revealed, being showed to the world to really show the fucking truth. And Neptune is trying to keep its veil up, right? And there's two sides to Neptune, right? But with these mutable squares here, it's like there is some difficult shit going on. You know, and there's things happening underneath the surface that maybe in your own life you haven't been aware of, or in the world, in the collective, you know, more things popping up to the surface, or more massive chess moves that are really just going to be like fucking mind altering to people. That's what it's been like. It's like all these alliance shifts that we've seen that we all predicted, but it's like mind numbing for people. Some people's heads are exploding, and it's fucking hilarious. Cause you know what? Like the truth always prevails. Jupiter and Gemini, though, the truth it's hard to find. It's hard to find. The facts are there, you know, but it's like, is it based in truth? Is it real? Jupiter squaring Neptune will expose that. This Mars squaring Neptune with this new moon in Virgo, with this moon that will oppose Saturn, is going to trigger that. It will be when Jupiter gets here, which will be a while, which will open the door wide fucking open, which could be a lucky break for some people. On the other end, you could completely lose your fucking mind. So this is a new moon. This is a reality check coming in here. This is a chance to let go of toxic love shit with this Venus South node, or, you know, past life connections showing up, or people from the past showing up, or relationships that drifted apart that weren't fully disconnected, but, you know, there is this opportunity for those to reconnect, or at least connect and communicate, to bring greater understanding to past situations with this South Node. Okay, but this is also a clearing, and we want to focus on clearing that. And those eclipses that are going to happen in October is going to happen at these degrees. 4 degrees, pretty sure. So this is a turning point. This past weekend was a turning point. This new moon is the doorway to this new world that we're stepping into, that, you know, we've all felt was coming. And it's going to, what I really feel is that it's going to really be beneficial to a large group of people, and some people are not going to benefit. And obviously with Pluto and Capricorn in general, that's just kind of how it is. You know, there are going to be people who benefit and people who don't. There are winners and there's losers. With Capricorn, there are winners and there are losers. It's where you are at in the hierarchy. Are you working overtime, or are you just doing the bare minimum? You know, if you're doing the bare minimum, you're going to be left behind. You know, if you are going the extra mile, it will get noticed. Absolutely will get noticed. And if you have been building something incredibly powerful and doing it passionately for a long period of time, this is a moment where we can start to see results start to show up. But definitely with that Pisces eclipse full moon we're talking about results. We're going to see results, okay? On a personal level. Yes, of course, massive cultural shifts and global shifts in the collective. On a personal level, it's like if there have been things that have been developing and building for you over time, it is these next couple months with Pluto at that final degree where you can see results start to show up, and that manifestation of that foundation of that Capricorn, you know, on or off, black or white, we're going this way, and if you ain't going that way, you're going that way. You know, it's like Capricorn is black or white. We're either going forward or we are asleep. It's like, this is a moment that we'll never see again in our lives. I think we all know that. We all know about this Pluto Capricorn We all know that this is the last moment, and thinking about that and knowing that, it's like, you know, that these next 2 months, these next 6 months are going to be unlike anything we've ever seen. It's unpredictable with this Uranus retrograde. Okay, it is magical though. There is this sense of like, holy shit, you can see, you know, where all the love goes. You can see where all the love is going in the collective, and you can see where all the dark energy is existing right now, okay? And it's like Capricorn, it is a small group of people who are governing a large group of people. And over these past 15 years, we've seen all the power and all the resources shift even more into these small groups in an oligarchical way. This is the breakdown of that, as Pluto is going to end its cycle here. It's going to look very familiar. It feels familiar, like on an ancestral level. It's really fucked up. I've never felt this over the past few weeks. I've been feeling it build up, and definitely yesterday when Pluto hit, it's like, you know, our cat died. I saw a bunch of I saw a bunch of friends online, like a bunch of people's pets died. Like multiple people. So, you know, there's death around us at this moment, and we're going to see death play out. Okay. And this is going to open the door for this new world. But this is a moment of death, and I think we have to accept that in this last moment of Pluto here. It's teaching us that, you know, this is a massive collective death of this past 245, 50 years. You know, and our beliefs and thoughts and ideas about what it means to be in this world is, you know, not what the program programmed us to be. More people are awake than ever. You know, and this Capricorn system has exposed itself. Now it's fucking flailing, and it's awesome to see that. Like it's the most punk rock thing ever. It's so fucking cool. You know, it's like, that's all I care about. I just want to see the light win. I don't care who, what, when, where, why. It's not a fucking secret to see where the dark shit's occurring and where love and light is really happening. It's, if you can't see it, I'm sorry. It's fucking plain as day. You know, and I hope this new moon can kick off as this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn for the last time, and this Uranus retrograde, which is going to be very shocking, and it's going to bring more shocks. I know these past few months for most people in the collective, it's been fucking shocking for people. For the astrologers, not so much. You know, not so much. Unless you've been doing astrology for fucking 2 years. But it's like, you know, been watching this shit play out since 2011. And I'll never forget. In 2011, when I moved away from home for the first time, I would talk to my grandmother on the phone for hours. And we would talk about this shit. And, you know, about a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. And she's very passionate about these things. I'm very passionate. And I would say certain things. And it's just like it would come through me. And I was having so many downloads about what I was feeling was coming. And this is 2011. And of course, most of that is played out. And I just remember, it's like, where are you getting this information? It's like, I don't know. Like, it's just happening. You know, there is something that is downloading. You know, I think a lot of us have had these moments where it's just like, all of a sudden, it's just these downloads come through. And it's like, holy shit. Like, you have this awakening, you know? And I think people in the spiritual community, in the astrology community, I think we all have those moments, at least from most of the people I know. It's like we all have a story of that moment where it all fucking, you know, you broke through, you know, or you were unplugged. And we all got there in a different way, you know, and not everybody is there, but I think, you know, it takes massive cataclysms to wake people up, you know. It's always a small percentage of the people who are awake before the actual awakening, because the awakening is actually mostly usually triggered by some sort of cataclysm or fucking massive event that is very impactful. Whether it was a 9/11 or fucking, any of that kind of vibe. So here it goes. It's the Capricorn energy coming back through. And it's totally clear. It's totally visible. And this new moon is opening up this new energy to accept it and actually look at it in a practical, realistic way. It is. It's very simple. Virgo is very simple. Capricorn is very simple. It's this Mars and Gemini squaring Neptune. This is like over complicating things and mentally exaggerating things. And it's just like hard to get a grip mentally. And Mars coming into Cancer won't be that much better either. So, which it'll be a lot better because it doesn't have to do with Neptune, but it will have to do with Pluto. So, this new energy that's coming through, it's like we really have to stand our ground with what's coming over these next 6 months. Because the first half of 2024 was pretty smooth sailing, I will say. It wasn't easy by any means, but compared to what we're stepping into, at least on a collective level, like we haven't seen this ever in our life. And we'll never see anything like this of what's going to play out over these next coming months. Oh, shit. Sorry. Over these next coming months ever in this sort of way. Because I really do feel, once Pluto's fully in Aquarius and once Uranus leaves Taurus, moves into Gemini, and will trine with Pluto, I really think that is going to be the moment where we're going to start to see, on a collective level, things really start to expand, and the breakdown of things, that we've just went through over these, we're going to start to see Uranus and Pluto come together and really affect humanity and culture, in a whole new way. It was during World War II and post World War II when Uranus left Taurus, which triggered World War II and the Holocaust and all that shit. It was when Uranus came into Gemini, which is what, like, all these new innovations and these new ideas and these new ways of thinking that shaped what the world became, or what it is now, because that was that turning point, was post World War II and Uranus and Gemini. Bringing in so many new inventions. Look, it was like the fucking TV, the stove, the fucking microwave, the refrigerator, all that stuff. All that kind of crazy technology. But also as well, we saw a lot of what we know to be household products, cleaning products that we buy, all that shit, all that kind of stuff, all the chemicals you spray everywhere and you think it's normal. A lot of that stuff was, being brought to the market at that point as well. And people were buying these things. Oh, we need this. We're supposed to have this. This is the way we do it. It's like, well, is it? Uranus and Gemini trining Pluto is going to be like, well, is it the right thing to do? It's like, it's going to be bringing up that. So we're going to be finding new ways to maintain our environment. It's Gemini, our environment, But also, it could bring shocks to how we're existing in those environments and, pushing us into new environments to experience new environments. And we can do that, then we can come up with new ideas that can be innovative and inspire and also shape humanity, which is Uranian and very Aquarian on a deep, deep level. So Uranus and Pluto, preparing over these next few years to make some good harmony finally. Could be some positive Pluto energy, but this is the moment where we have to face the Reaper. Like Pluto, 29 degree Capricorn, it's like the Grim Reaper, right? It really is. Or it literally is the fucking devil card, I got the Two of Wands reversed. So it is like we are in between. This is like the upside down world, the Stranger Things. It's like we're two worlds at once. Mars leaving Gemini today, squaring Neptune with this full moon. It's like, what world are you in? What world are you creating for yourself? Is it based upon your morals and your values? Or is it based upon some mindset that you're just going along with something and some program that you downloaded that wasn't even yours during this Pluto Capricorn system? That was, it's like we're all a part of it. And it's like, astrology and these esoteric tools and the occult knowledge helps us break through the veil of our programming, right? And developing and finding tools to help us break through the programming and the faulty programming is why we're here. Is why we seek these tools and want to share them with people. It's to help wake people up and to help reveal to ourselves our own unconscious stuff. And the more we can reveal to ourselves, the more we can allow the world to reflect it back to us, because we can't see ourselves fully, and that's what having healthy relationships is all about, which is the South Node. And Venus is teaching us as well. It's like we have to come to an agreement. We have to at least like settle our differences. It's like your beliefs are yours, they're mine, and it's not all about beliefs. Jupiter, which will square Neptune, beliefs are going to get real sticky over these next few months. And of course, with how things are going to play out, which we don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but we do know one thing for fucking sure going into the end of this year. It's going to be super extreme, intense, and wild, unexpected. We thought we've seen some of the most intense, unexpected things play out over these past few months. I really think, the real kicker is around the corner. So, anyway, this new moon in Virgo, I think, is very powerful for really setting a new intention towards reality. This moon will oppose Saturn right after this new moon, and Pluto coming back into Capricorn, being Saturn ruled. This is about reality. This is about the structure. This is about keeping it clean and actually doing the work and being realistic and being practical and actually connecting with your soul and connecting with spirit, which is Pisces, the opposite of Virgo, and connecting with that divine purpose from your physical self to the divine. And I think this new moon is helping us set a new course towards a new understanding of what that divine connection is, but also awakening to what's going on, which is going to affect our beliefs and shape our beliefs and reshape our beliefs. And Pluto ending this cycle and coming into Aquarius are going to be reshaping our ideas about humanity in ways that we can't perceive yet, which is very exciting. And I think anything associated with Aquarius and Uranus is definitely always unexpected, but always incredibly exciting. In the aftermath of that is like, wow, that was fucking awesome. Thank God we actually took the risk. So if you're taking the risk right now to, try something new, land a new job, quit a job to get, the risks can pay off. Of course, with Uranus going retrograde, it's a little riskier right now. But, with great risk is reward. Pluto and Capricorn has taught us that. But also, what Pluto and Capricorn is exposing is where that has been, that way of going about things has been completely immoral. And, selfish. So now, what we saw with Pluto and Capricorn the last time, 245 years ago, it was groups of people exiting that Capricorn system to go start their own thing. We're going to see that play out again, and it's already happening. Are we going to see a new political party unify? Maybe. It's very possible. I would not be surprised if all of a sudden we see a whole new party uprise out of the blue, out of nowhere, and totally change the trajectory of this Capricorn system into this Aquarian, next 19, 20 years. This is going to be exciting, and I hope you guys have a wonderful new moon, and you're setting your intentions strong and healthy and practical. I think it's important to have practical intentions with this new moon. Of course, I will say, with this Pisces new full moon eclipse that's coming up on the 17th, we got to really think big. We got to really think beyond and set our intentions beyond into the divine. This is a moment where we got to stay present and stay physical, especially with Mars ending its transit in Gemini over these next few days. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Monday and have a great new moon. I know shit's getting really intense, but it's getting exciting. So I'll see y'all tomorrow and have a wonderful day. Peace out.